just gets better and deeper. And it just reminds me of places that I've begun to explore but dropped off. And so I'm really interested in, you know, just the journey of the mentorship and getting to a point where I can actually put all of this um, into action. And I appreciate even having the practice while we're in the program. And so um, I think I leave every day feeling just more inspired, more excited about the possibilities, and it feels much closer to manifestation than previously. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Excellent. And thanks for those spoken. The reason why I'm asking is I just want to be sure that I'm not wasting your time. I know this 1 hour you could catch cold shower and sleep, or even, just relax and do something else with your time. But, keeping within the space with me for 1 hour every evening for the rest of the next 30 something days now is really going to be worthwhile. So I want to be sure that we are not wasting our time. So thank you. I want to also encourage, especially those that have not been responding to the task and assignments. Just very, very few of you have been doing that. Please, it's what is going to really, really account for the impact at the end of the day. You can be here listening to all the things and all of that, and you are not practicalizing, you are not exercising with those tasks. There's no way you're going to internalize it. So please, that's why I try as much as possible to give you the simpler actions to take. There are other higher actions that could have real out to you to do, but things that you can do in 15 minutes, in 10 minutes, those are the things I've been giving you to do. Please make sure you take time to do them, document them, and send them to me, because at the end of the day, like I mentioned yesterday, I'm going to do an overall review and then be able to give you in a sentence, or at best, I will try as much as well to also look for a word, and you'll be shocked of the outcome at the end of the day. And this is what it's all about, so that I can help, in trying to help you shape the perspective of what your life is all about and how you should be able to embrace yourself. Okay, so let's quickly go deep into this 15 minutes past. We have about 45 minutes, and I'll see how to do great justice to these under very important concept of life. When you're talking about growth, mindset is very, very important. I remember on day one, or was it day two, when I was telling you about a book I read many years ago, and I've read it repeatedly for not less than about 5 times. I was telling you about orientation, what makes the difference between the poor and the rich, as documented and explained by Robert Kiyosaki. That principle still works up till now, right? The mindset, the frame of the mind of human is so powerful that if you're able to shape it in accordance to the direction of your life trajectory, okay, you'll see the expectation will meet fulfillment. But why many people are not really getting their pursuit, why they are not even getting, what they want in life, is simply because they don't have the right set of frameworks for their mind. So if there's anything you need to begin to work on, as we have discovered through those exercises, what your areas of strength are, your weaknesses, what opportunities lies ahead of you through your passion that is causing your pursuit, blah, 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 your behavioral set of governing system in your life, your values, blah, blah, blah. The next thing you need to begin to work on is how to shape your mind towards this thing. And let me tell you one secret about the mind. The mind is one of the most powerful system that God had created in every human being. So if you want to control humans, you need to work on the mind, right? I was saying something to you yesterday about emotional intelligence. That's why it's one of the most powerful interpersonal skills, or what you call soft skill. And the reason is because with emotional intelligence skill, especially when you are now going deeper using the tools of technology, right? it's very easy for you to begin to read people's mind to some extent. The act of kindnesses, you in space about 10 minutes, 15 minutes with people, you can see the patterns, the unseen algorithm of the patterns of their thinking faculty. Okay, the six faculties that makes up the human mind. You see the pattern by which they flow, either NSYNC or non-NSYNC. It's very easy for you to be able to tell certain tendencies or certain level of behaviors or attributes of such a person. I mean, this thing is scientifically proven. This thing is psychologically established, right? So, is the reason why you now need to take control of the way your mind is framed. You don't want undue influences that you end up not having control over to be what will enable you to shape. And that's exactly what is happening, governing the entire world system now. You know, all the structures that you see are being created in the world are targeted towards, shaping and remodeling, orientating the mind of humans. And now the introduction of technology, AI tools, and all of that is another way by which that is quickly being facilitated. Why are people glued so much to social media, to their phones, to their tech gadgets? And it seems like we are almost losing the newest generation. Okay, sorry, not newest generation now. The almost outdated generation, and that's Gen Z. Now is worse still with Gen Alpha and Gen Beta, and Gamma are quickly rising up. And by the time those ones land, maybe we'll just be operating for them in Pluto or in Jupiter or in Mars or Uranus or Saturn or whatever. Their lot is going to be plotted in space. So there's so much that the human mind, can embrace. And that's why you need to begin to learn how to culture shape your mind. And that's what brought about the concept of growth mindset, because that is where the seat of growth is situated. And at the same time is where the battle that every man is going to fight in his life is also situated. You're trying to, pursue against all to grow. At the same time, every other thing is militating against that your growth. So that's why it's important that you see what are those things that you can embrace as principles, concepts, as practices that will enable you to ensure that you shape, you're shaping your mind in the right direction. And that's what we'll be looking at. Because once you're able to establish that, then you can now see opportunities for what they are, and you see challenges for exactly what they are, not what the world is telling you, right? Because you'll be seeing the dichotomy between the mindset of the world and the mindset of reality. Okay, you'll be seeing the dichotomy between what is real and what is unreal, what seems to be real, but it's not real. Because if it's not real, it is not real. Reality is not utopian in nature. Reality is absolute. Okay, just like when you have truth, you have justice, all these concepts in philosophy, they are absolute, right? And that's how powerful the mind, human mind is. So I'm going to be, pushing you towards this reshaping or reorientation of the mind in such a way that you can now begin to see the transformative power that is inherent in human mind, so that once you're able to set it rightly and position it at the right coordinates, trust me, you become unstoppable. You become unstoppable. Everything you touch will just be like a Midas touch. And people will just be like, is it not that coward? Is it not that timid person? Is it not that failure that is not achieving this great fiat and all of that? That will be the transformation. That is going to be the change. That is going to be the 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 turning point, that you're going to experience in your personal or professional pursuit. And that's just the goal of this program. Okay, so what exactly is this growth mindset? Again, it's a system of belief, is a process by which you utilize your ability, the level of your intelligence, albeit spiritual, emotional, social, whatever level of intelligence you want to, put together within the frame of your working. That's why we call it framework. It has to be within the frame of what you're going to work at. Nobody is going to do it for you. It has to be your personal responsibility. by which you want to develop yourself. Okay, and we're going to see the process by which you carry out this process, the development of your mind. So it's like how you know that you need to put all things together for you to be able to develop yourself against all odds. Don't forget, I told you what is happening in the world is necessarily militating against the successful execution of you framing yourself. So you need to work against all odds. And that's exactly what the growth mindset is all about. So is you assuming that position whereby you know you have that full responsibility towards yourself. Okay. And in doing that, it's like a battle where you need to deal with what the world has posed to you to be reality and what is reality. Okay. The reality is the fact that you have the responsibility and you need to achieve it. Whereas the unreal situation is like there have been modes created in different spheres of life. When you move into the academic environment, you know, as you're pursuing intellectualism, they will tell you this is how things work here. I don't know how many of us have heard things like that before. You know, they will tell you this is how things work here, to the point that if you start walking outside of the norm there, you will fail. And they will prove to you based on those standards because they are fixed standards. They will judge your performance and tell you that you're a failure. And if care is not taken, you will accept it that truly I'm a failure. Because after all, that's what my lecturer said. And let me tell you my own personal story. This thing I want to share with you. Thank God I remember. I've been thinking about it since I thought about having these sessions with each of you. And I'm like, God, I must make sure I mention this to you because it's a very fascinating story of my life. I'm going to be very quick and see ways to summarize it. It took me about 7 years in between when I had my first degree, my BSc in architecture, and when I had my first master's degree in architecture also. 7 years, 7 years. And that 7 years was like a wilderness journey for me because I had to triangulate across different industries for me to just convince myself that I can and I have what it takes for me to be able to practice as a professional. Because my lecturers, while I was doing my BSc, made me realize that I'm not a good student. I'm not even near average because to them I wasn't serious. I missed some classes. I don't submit my assignment in time. I don't attend studios, blah, blah, blah. My priority is not really academic. I mean, there were so many things they used to judge with me then. And I mean, in my innocence, I just felt I was just living life and what I believe was my convictions or what I set as priority. And I was doing that, you know. So by the time I was done, with those things that been fixed in my mind, heard from my lecturers and some of my colleagues too, you know, resonated them to me. And I'm like, okay, so that means I can't practice as an architect. So I quickly looked for a shortcut, went into telecoms, practiced there for about 3 years, and blah, 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 blah. So after 7 years, that's when I realized that no, my faith is still in this profession. I didn't go to university for 4 year plus for me to just go and obtain a certificate. I knew the conviction I had against the wish of my parents. My mom wanted me to study pharmacy because of the influence of my uncle then. And my dad wanted me to be a computer engineer. In fact, that was the two courses they filled when I sat for JAMB. And I erased it because then we used to fill JAMB with pencil. I erased it while I was going to submit the form and put architecture first choice, architecture second choice, OAU first choice, OAU second. I was that convinced and desperate, as if I knew that I was going to pass, as if I knew I was going to get admission into the university. But hey, everything worked perfectly for me because I was that desperate. And see me, I finished. I'm wallowing between, do I have the guts to practice? I don't have the guts to practice. So 7 years. By the time I made up my mind, I was already married. I had my first kid. And that's another phase of challenge. How do I cope with a full-time program, 2 years, right? I had to work. I had to take care of my family. I'm not a young father. And so in between all of these things, I mean, it was just like my entire life all collapsing right in front of me. I just told myself that I can. I remember that very night when I eventually got the admission. I raised it up and I'm like, Bola, you can do this. So go for it. And trust me, I went for it. And it wasn't as pleasant as I thought because I felt, oh, with the use of technology, I should be able to just get through with this seamlessly, blah, blah, blah. But hey, it wasn't that easy. There was a lecturer. one of the courses that I love so much, I took almost about 15 different courses across the 2 years, but one of the lecturers took us one of my most interesting courses, which has to do with sustainability, Professor Michael um, Adebamo. Sorry, I'm mentioning names because these names resonate so much with me, So there was a particular studio we did that semester. I think it was the third semester, second year, first semester. You know, I was so encumbered with my job, with my work. So, I mean, I had that divided attention to school. Don't forget, it's a full-time course. So I had to shuttle between work site and then school. So on one occasion, we were supposed to submit studio. I was far away, many miles away from school. Maybe they called me impromptu that we need to submit. And by the time I got there, the submission had closed and all of that. And the man had picked me among almost about 20 different students who did not submit early, I mean, that missed the submission deadline and called me 7 different names. 7 different names. I can't forget that scene. I stood in front of everybody, called me, I'm unteachable, I'm very lazy, this, that, 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 that. I just bent my head hearing all those names. I was just telling myself, Bola, you've gone through this over and over again. This is not you. I mean, I was just confessing that, of course, not saying it loudly, but right deep into my mind. So everything he was saying wasn't going deep, but as it was entering my ears, it was going through the second one. To cut the long story short, I mean, God raised someone that intervened on our behalf, pleaded, were able to submit. And then that particular studio, I had A in that particular studio. And that was just the depth of my conviction. By the time we move into the final semester, which was the fourth semester, second semester, second year, because of the excellence I scored in that particular studio, that man was telling me I'm not teachable, I'm lazy, I'm this. It was a proof to show that everything he said wasn't true about me. Guess what? That last semester, I had A in 7 or 8 courses I took, including my final thesis, my final presentation. I had A in all, 5.0 over 5.0. And that's why it gave me an opportunity because, I mean, for those of us that have done master, once you score above 4 points out of 5, you have opportunity to pursue your PhD. So why I'm sharing this with you is because there is something that every institution, every system governed by human beings, either in the social world, in the intellectual world, in the physical world, in the supernatural world, or generally on the earth, on terrestrial, they all have ways by which they want to have control over the minds of people. The same way you see people try to manipulate other people because they are the boss, they are the leader, is the same way when you enter into some domains, people want to also manipulate and control you as an individual through the systems, the policies, the principles, the norms, and all of that, the culture, you know, of that system is all targeted towards your mind. So you have the responsibility, you have the sole responsibility to guard yourself against it, right? When they say if you're in Rome, you build like Rome, does not mean that you should lose your mind, okay? Does not mean that you should give away your mind. And that was exactly what helped me to succeed. And because of that success, if you know the kind of, apart from joy, the happiness, and of course, the exaltation that came to me because what everybody thought I wasn't going to excel at, I didn't just excel, I was distinguished among my peers. And till now, that recognition is still there. Guess what? Today, one of the lecturers, because I'm having some things to do with the school, some of the lecturers, deans, and some of these lecturers, including this man that I'm mentioning, that professor, you know, one of his protege, now a doctor, called me and asked me. In fact, it was almost like I just have to, against all odds, appear in his program. On Saturday, this coming Saturday, he invited me that I need to come and meet with the man. And because the level of impact and influence across board I've been doing ever since I graduated, the school is just calling for my attention and we need to partner, we need to do things together and all of that. This is just, okay, how many years away now? That's about 9 years, yeah, just about 9 or 10 years away. since I left for my first postgraduate studies, you know. So imagine, see what had happened within the space of 9 years because of my change of mindset and the fact that I sealed up my mind that nothing different from what I've embraced to be my value system, to be my definition for success will not interfere or erode my own value. So I share this with you to let you know that the only person that can tell impossibility, that can talk about limitation is you, not any other person, is you. Not even the voice of failure, not even the voice of fear, because all of these things will also speak to your mind from time to time. You've attempted things several times and it's like, oh no, you need to be resolute on those things and let them know that they are not strong enough to erode your confidence. The fact that this is not who you are. Who you are is that you need to keep moving forward. You need to keep moving forward. And that's where you need to understand the dichotomy. Okay, because you will continue to wrestle with this issue, you know, until you die. Even up to now, sometimes when I want to do things or I've done things and it doesn't really come out the way I wanted, and it will be like, oh, okay, could it be that I've made a mistake? I should hone up. Oh, this is not a mistake. It's just for me to see how this thing works. And, you know, okay, I just taught myself to a researcher. After all, a researcher will have to research and keep researching until you get it right. And then you publish your results and everybody's happy, but they won't know that you've been in the lab for years before you got these results. I mean, these are ways by which I encourage myself. And I'm like, no, I'm not a failure. I will try again. I'll look for money and try again. Because by the time I succeed and get the results, people will not know how many times I've paid and tried this thing and it worked. And then I can now develop principles by which this thing works and everybody. So this is how life is in the simplest form. And this is how you need to grow your mentality against all odds and against the negativity that these fixed systems are going to be pushing forward to you. Are you following me? Hello, are you following me? I'm going to play a 2-minute video for you. I would like you to listen to Professor Carol. She is one of the people I follow so well. She is a professor of psychology. She has worked in different Ivy League universities in UK, in US. And just listen to what someone reported about one of our research on this fixed mindset and growth mindset. Oh, okay. Just a minute. Let me share my sound so that you'll be able to hear the sound. I'll stop it, then I'll be able to share the sound with it. Are you learning anything new?
Yes, sir. So,
Yes.
yes, sir.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, sorry. I think I know what the problem is now. The sound. Okay. Researcher and professor. Can you hear the sound from your head?
Yes.
You heard the sound from your hand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to play it again. If you heard the sound, just let me know.
I can't hear, sir.
That's audible.
Hello, did you hear the sound?
No, not that time.
Okay, so that means you weren't hearing it before. It was through my. Let me reshare. I'm missing something. There's. Oh, okay. I think we should be able to see it now. Yes, you're going to hear it now.
Think about ability and Researcher and professor Carol Dweck uses the term mindset to describe the way people think about ability and talent. Dweck delineates between two different mindsets that exist on a continuum. The first is the fixed mindset, which suggests that your abilities are innate and unchangeable. The second is a growth mindset, which views it as something you can improve through practice. In a fixed mindset, you view failure as permanent, but with a growth mindset, you see failure as a chance to learn and even pivot. Those with a fixed mindset are more likely to view critical feedback as a personal attack, while those with a growth mindset will see it as a chance to improve, where they can develop new systems. With a fixed mindset, you're more likely to choose easier tasks and put in minimal effort. After all, if talent is fixed, why bother improving? Why even try? But with a growth mindset, you're more likely to embrace challenging tasks and work hard to improve. Those with a fixed mindset are likely to give up when they face an obstacle. Meanwhile, those with a growth mindset will view obstacles as a chance to experiment and solve problems. In a fixed mindset, the focus is on measurable accomplishments. But with a growth mindset, the focus is more on a journey of continual improvement. With a fixed mindset, you're less likely to take creative risks. But with a growth mindset, creative risks are simply a way to innovate and improve. Ultimately, your mindset influences everything from creative risk-taking to how you view feedback to whether or not you finish difficult tasks. And in the end, it's one of the greatest factors in determining whether or not you grow and improve in your abilities.
Okay, so you can see when you're talking about growth now, your mindset is what is going to determine whether you're going to grow or not, right? So when I encounter people and discuss with them and they talk about their challenges, I know definitely that where their challenges are rooted is in their mindset. They're not seeing opportunities. The mindset that is fixed is limiting them from seeing opportunities. What they're just seeing are just problems. They are just seeing things that are not working and all of that. So let me just extract to you 5 things I've seen that dimensions of growth mindset from my experience. The first one is about learning. This resonates so much with me, and that's why I was able to project it out to you about learning. If you are looking at how to dig deep into yourself for you to be able to establish a proper orientation towards growth, you want to move forward ahead of your contemporaries, you need to be someone who is given to learning, continuous learning, never stop seeking for unlimited knowledge. I'm an avid reader. I used to make jest with my friend when we were talking and they're saying, oh, me, I do investment in this, I do this, I have this. I tell them, I said, I'm just a very humble person. And, my greatest investment in life has always remained one. It has never changed right from when I was on campus till now that I'm doing all that I'm doing. And that investment is just in learning, buying books, investing in e-library. In fact, my library is the richest place. If you want to know me, if you want to see me, my library is the richest place. I have hundreds of thousands of books, many of which I've not even read. And I don't think I can finish reading them till I die. And that's the honest truth. And besides that, I'm someone who is always seeking for opportunity to acquire new knowledge. In fact, just this year, one of my priorities digging deep into technology, and my interest is in artificial intelligence. I'm taking some courses, startup, in seeing how to apply AI to my areas of interest in technology, in training, blah, 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 and all of that. So I'm going deep and I won't stop there. I'm going into deep learning as well. I want to do DPL because I've done NLP before and all of that. So so when I come out and I share with people, I talk, they'll just be wondering that, oh, but you call yourself an architect. Unfortunately, yeah, that's my background, but I have deep knowledge and insight in many areas of life. When I talk to you about medical sciences, when I talk to you about legal arts, when I talk to you about creative arts, you'll be shocked. You'll be wondering, at what point did I get to learn all these things? It's because I have given to searching for unlimited knowledge. So the same thing, and everybody, every human mind can absorb this. In fact, the day I read about the scientific research that was conducted on the human brain, and it's stipulated that we have not even used up to 1/3 of the capacity of our brain. When you look at a data system that stores data in the cloud, you have the gigs, you have the terabytes, you have the gigabytes, and so on. You have the terabytes and and they keep expanding the capacity of storage. How much more our own brain that keeps getting weary because you are not feeling it. You are not, sometimes you have migraine, not necessarily because there are too many things there. It's simply because there are too many voids, that need to be filled. So these are some of the things that learning will enable you. So you need to be someone, if you want to grow and reorientate your mind, you need to have this yearning, you need to have this passion for acquiring new knowledge, seeking for new insights, always staying out there, looking for new information. Just recently, before I came into this meeting, I just downloaded some new updates across the world, global insights on technology, global insight on economy. I follow quite a number of multinational, international organizations, that will give me all this information. What Economic Forum, I'm there, World Bank, I'm there. And I'm not just there, I'm a registered member in those communities. So when you're talking about investment, these are areas where if you want to really learn, you will invest. You don't look for mushroom organizations that will not give you real data that will enable to facilitate your learning. Likewise, in as much as I don't have big money to go and do big courses in Harvard, there are other small, short courses. Some of them free, some you have to pay a token that you can take, because you know that whatever it is that come out of these Ivy League universities, they are authentic, they are standard. So you go to Harvard, you go and look for those kind of courses. You go to Oxford University, you go and look for those courses. You go to Caltech, you go and look for those courses. And then you see that your life can never remain the same. And the way you begin to perceive situations and look at things will naturally be different, either in the area of human governance, leadership, or whatever aspect of life. You will see relationship-wise, everything will be different. That's one dimension of growth. And it will easily, is a quick win, is a low-hanging fruit. You will see the difference. Having attained and obtained about 4 different master's degree, 1 diploma, 1 doctorate, I can tell you for free that even when you place me in the midst of my contemporaries, they will be calling me Oga. One of them called me this evening. We're doing a project together, and anytime we're talking, they're always saying Oga, Oga. And this was my classmate when we were doing BSc together. The same class where I was when I had to lose 7 years for me to be able to find the tangent of my life. And 10 years after, 9 years after, you can see the difference simply because of the passion towards learning. Some of them, they are coming back into my academy. Some of them are coming into my leadership stuff for them to come and learn from me. I've trained some of them. So this is one thing that learning will quickly deliver in your life. Change your mindset, orientates you, and uplifts you to a realm where you will necessarily keep growing. Then the second one talks about the rebounds. And this one also is very interesting. And see, this is how it works. A rebounds attitude tells you that whatever happens to you and bring you down below the level of compensation, below the level of your worth, you shouldn't remain there. You need to find a way to lift yourself up. When you hear someone tell you that, I was in this situation, but I encouraged myself. Don't forget, I told you, the responsibility always lies in you. So it now depends on where you get the influence to provoke that power, to provoke the firepower in you, because it's right there. Is just potential inside of you. You need to find something to stir it up. It might just be that someone, as I'm talking to you right now, might just be that is when those stirring up is happening. Or you just read a book, or you just pray over a situation, and God just touched your heart. So you need to always connect with things that will cause a rebound in your life. You need to determine what those things are. For some, it might just be that singing. So you never give up on singing. Any situation you find yourself, just make sure you sing. Find something that you can connect to. For some, it might just be words that they meditate on. It might just be things that they ponder on. For me, most times when I'm down, when I'm in situation, I'll just take a walk and then keep regurgitating on God's word. That's how I get my own rebounds. Any situation. One happened to me 2 days ago. I got a result and it was like, I'm rejected. I'm like, me, of all people. Oh my God. Sometimes when you see some kind of outcome of your life, you just laugh, because God just wants to tell you something that, okay, so everything is not just on bed of roses. I mean, this is something that I was just too full of myself that everything, in fact, is like I even overdid myself in submission. At the end of the day, the outcome was just like, you are rejected. I'm like, me. And this is the second of such situation just this year, January. The first one, I started the process, you know, of an international opportunity. And by the time, if I had to even be the one that followed up that, how far now? You never got back to me. And you're like, oh, this, sorry. It has to be something else. I'm like, really? But keep it up. I'm like, me, really? You guys are supposed to be the one chasing after me. I put that one aside. Then this other second one came just 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, I just had to, I took a walk around yesterday, and while I was just, those things were just coming back to my mind. I was like, oh, this is it. Okay, okay. Immediately, I was just meditating, thinking, and speaking to myself. I just realized that, oh, something bigger is waiting. That's why I can't pick this. Because if I pick this, then it's going to be an hindrance for me not to be able to pick when those bigger things come. I just settled for it. I said, that is it. And I moved on. So rather than me wallowing in the mindset of, oh, I failed, oh, I'm not rejected, oh, this one says I'm not good enough and all of that, I said, no, never. It's because of the bigger thing that is coming. So I need to keep preparing. Let me keep dusting myself and keep, pushing myself till when that big thing comes. And then those people who think that they rejected me will now be the ones that will now be seeking for. So this is what rebounds does. So you need to look for that thing that you connect with that will cause that rebounds to you. Then there's also the dimension of risk taking. Risk taking. In fact, when I delve into the arena of project management, I realized that, oh, this is where I need to connect with risk taking. Because as a project manager, you are a risk taker. If you're not willing to take risk, then you cannot be a successful project manager. And I quickly translate that into all aspects of my life. And trust me, it helps to sharpen your discerning spirit. By the time you get to that point where you are able to, discern, and when you're talking about discernment, I'm talking about you being able to see, is beyond having foresight. They will say that foresight is good, but there are powers beyond foresight. There are things about this year that many people don't know. Everybody is just living, blah, 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 and all of that. But as much as opportunities are leading in this year, some people are not going to take the risk of the uncertainties. But guess what? Those uncertainties for risk takers are great opportunities that they will leverage on and then be able to sail above contemporaries and sail above every situation. And that's what risk taking gives you. So you must be willing at all times. And of course, not casual risk. Now, there are some risk that logically does not make any sense. So you need to discern and know that, no, this one does not, because you already have an answer to it. But those uncertain situations where you don't have answers to, don't be afraid for you to even get it wrong. Attempt it, take it. As long as it doesn't take away your life, which it did, it's not going to take away your life. But that's part of what fixed mindset will tell you, that what if you lose your life in it? It's not going to kill you. And that's the honest truth. It's definitely not going to kill you. If things that you're going to take risk on are going to kill you, then so many of us should not be driving, because some of us that dared learning how to drive drove without going through the normal process. I remember when I chose, my boss just told me that he was going to give me a car, that I was going to be using for my operation. And lo and behold, I don't even know how to drive. I don't have any, and I couldn't tell him that, sorry, because that opportunity would just slip off. You know what I did? I took the vehicle, boom, and I just looked for the nearest place after work, and I just went to the field. I started, because I've always watched how my driver pressed this, pressed that, blah, blah, blah. And that was that. And I needed to now put someone beside me for me to be able to get my real confidence at the end of the day. But here I am, many years after. never had any accident, and I will not in the name of Jesus. So this is part of what risk-taking means. Don't be afraid to pursue your certainties, because it's just like someone that wants to mine gold in the rock. Okay. You don't know whether truly, maybe even when you have done the test, blah, 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 and all of that, you don't know empirically the certainty that you are going to really explore the quantity of what you want. But you keep pulling through, because there's a level of faith. And that's what I want to connect this understanding with, that for you to really take good risk or reasonable risk, successful risk, you must have some level of faith, so that at the end of the day, the outcome of your action on risk taking does not invalidate your essence. Because many people have taken risk and they become silly. They become object of ridicule. In fact, their whole life has shattered as a result of just one single decision they've taken. I mean, singular decision they've taken in life. So you need to be careful. Make sure you have enough faith that is robust enough to be able to pull you through those uncertain aperture that you need to go through when you want to dare what is not. So I summarize this understanding by saying, if you want to fail fast and recover. If you want to fail cheap. Don't make it too costly, because there are certain failures that are very costly. There are certain risks that are too costly. You don't want to, you calculate that, you see that, no, this one, I can't bear it, I can't take it. You don't need, it's just going to be too illogical for you to do it. And if you're going to fail, make sure you fail forward. You don't attempt something that you know definitely is going to cost you so much, and then you still went ahead to go and do it. That is unreasonable. But if you know that it's something that even when you fall, it pushes you forward to the next level, it's better you do it. And then once you recover, you bounce up. Then you also talk about, the power of agility, because this is what gives you reasonable progress. It keeps you moving. And the world we live in now, if you are not adaptable, if you don't have agile skills, it will be very difficult for you to catch up with things. Things are moving in quick succession. There are certain opportunities that comes that you don't need to pray over. You just need to make decision. Otherwise, next second flips up. So if there's anything you need to do, you must have been doing all the preparation.
She married last year.
Let me mute Dr. Folashade.
She showed how to cook different kinds of food. Her husband
Hello.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know I muted myself. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes,
good,
sir.
good. Sorry, I didn't know I muted myself in place of muting Dr. Folashade. So I said one of the things that will help you succeed in growing is when you are prepared yourself properly. And that's one of the things that learning does. Learning helps you to prepare yourself. You have this wide capacity of knowledge. So there are certain things that you don't need to waste time in deciding upon, because you have that knowledge, the basic knowledge that will help you have informed decision. You already know. So you quickly make decision and move on. And it's also part of the process of taking risk. Not because you are too certain of the outcome, but you know by faith, this thing is going to work out. So, and you put this against your values, what we talked about yesterday, and then the ethical essence of the process. Does it violate your moral ethics? Does it violate your value system? As long as, these are simple ways by which you can make quick decisions. As long as it doesn't be, and that's why I told you yesterday, you must set up your value system, because it's going to be one of the reasons by which you're going to be basing your judgments and you're assessing your decisions. So you don't need to, for you to have even come up with those values, I believe you must have prayed over it and it aligns strictly with your purpose, as we discussed yesterday, right? And then you can then move, you keep moving, not because you're assured that there's going to be success. You lay your hands on a cause you are doing a particular program. You are here, not because you really know what the outcome is going to be, but you are just here and you are moving. For the next 40 days, we'll keep moving. And you see what will be the outcome on the 40th day when you are praising yourself. And I give you my own appraisal as well. Then the final one talks about pride. Pride. You know, the way I describe this pride, because by the time you begin to record successes in your life, because that's what growth is going to give you. Imagine when you plant a seed, it moves from being just an embryo seed and moves into the first stage of growth when it started showing some kind of potentials of roots, getting roots deep, deep inside the soil. And then you now begin to see the trunk coming out, you see the flowering process, then you see the fruits process and all of that. It brings some kind of level of pride in you. When you succeed on an innovation, when you succeed on your creative thinking, when you see the product of the process you are going through, just like me having all these programs, all these certificates, all these professional attainments, it's a level of pride. I don't need anybody to praise me. I don't need anybody to give me some sense of pride to me. I know within me that I'm happy. This is because I could have as well gone through all this process and come out with nothing out of it. So this is one of the things that will enable you to do more. Because I've done the first, against all odds, I succeeded. I've done the next, I've succeeded. I've done the next, I've succeeded. I will keep pushing, keep expanding and exploring new scope, new opportunities. You know, before it used to be Nigerian University. By the time I did my third, when I was after the second master's, I told myself I'm not going to do any master's again in any Nigerian university. You know, I started looking for opportunities, despite I don't have the money, but I knew I wasn't going to take any masters again in Nigeria. I had to look for foreign universities, you know, and then opportunities started coming. And guess what? If you don't think about it, you will not realize it. The process of you thinking consistently about something is like you are imagining and you are creating that imaginary product. And before long, you just see that it becomes a reality to you. So that's the process by which you can, you know, create your essence and then deliver your value. Why does this growth mindset matters? One, mentioned it repeatedly because of resilience and perseverance, because these are very critical in your growth process in life. They used to say Nigerians are very resilient, but trust me, Nigerians are not resilient. They are just people that suffer and smile, and that is not the meaning of resilience. Okay, resilience is you moving against every obstacle. You are moving, you keep moving, no matter how much they stop, you keep moving. Nigeria has not been moving. Nigeria has been stagnated for many years. So the fact that people are not struggling, they are not protesting or revolting, doesn't mean that they are resilient. That's not the meaning of resilience. Resilience means that against all odds, you still have this can-do spirit. You have this can-do attitude against all odds. Within that same environment where they think you cannot make it, you are still prospering. Not that you are seeking for greener pastures for you to go and succeed. You know, that is what resilience means. Where people are saying that you cannot move, you are moving in their very high, and they see you growing, you know. Then the other one is about you positioning yourself to solve problems. And this is one of the areas where I thrive so well. I look for challenges. I don't allow challenges to seek for me. Always, in fact, once I see that I'm restless, the next thing I want to do is to start searching for global challenges because I want to solve problems, you know, and not just ordinary problems, wicked problems. I want to solve wicked problems because this will begin to create new curiosity in me. And then I will now remember that I'm limited in my knowledge. So I want to know more. When you see someone who have attained up to like 10 different PhDs, you'll be wondering what exactly is that person looking for? It's because the person is a problem solver. The person is creative. The person is always seeking for new challenges. And that's the kind of person I am. I want to solve multi-dimensional problems. I want to just do things out of the box. So this is the reason why you need to grow your mind. And nobody, nothing, no human system gives opportunity like this to us. They just want to tell you, they will even tell you don't multitask. Multitasking is against normal human convention, right? But growing mindset, you get to a point where you know that multitasking is necessary for you to be able to succeed in life. Then the third one talks about embracing challenges, and you see challenges as opportunity for you to grow. It becomes a springboard for you. I won't dwell so much on this. And yesterday I also mentioned the fourth one,
which is about Kaizen. Your yesterday must never be better than today, and your today must never be better than your tomorrow. And that's the progression. You keep moving and getting better, brighter, greater. You must, anytime you look back in all ramification of your life, you should never say, oh, that yesterday was better. Oh, good old days. I've never said such before in my life, because whatever it is I'm doing now seriously outweighs whatever I have done in the past. And that's why I keep pursuing that. I want to get better and do more. What are the key characteristics you'll find here? Again, it's just a repeat of some of these things. The more you learn, the more you're exposing yourself to criticism, right? Because you must be able to position yourself to allow constructive criticism, constructive feedbacks. In as much as there are naysayers, there are people who are not just happy about your growth. There are people who are just out there to witch hunt your growth. Yet, you need to be able to decipher them. You need to be able to separate them like chaffs from the wheat, right? So that you don't, because of them, pull yourself away from those constructive way by which you can improve upon your life. And learning is the easy way by which you can achieve that. So don't stay away from learning. Keep learning. Then you need to develop keen belief system. I don't know what your faith is based on. For me, my faith is based on Christ. And anytime I'm struggling in any areas of all these principles I'm telling you, I always resort back to him. And then it gives me insights. It gives me ways by which I can recreate all these principles in another way that would make sense to me. So everything I'm saying to you may not make sense. Trust me, because it's a whole lot. And it's until when you begin to practice them, take them one by one, step by step, and internalize them, that's when you begin to see and kind of like relate with them. But guess what? The quicker and easier way, the other way around, is when you have someone interpret some of these things to you and it becomes part of your experiences. So you need to go back and look at what exactly have you embraced as your belief system, because it's going to also help you if you really have true belief system, a real one, not fake belief system. If you have real belief system, trust me, you will always have good interpretation of all these essence of life. Perhaps you are still struggling with some of challenges in your life. I have these 3 things to share with you, which has helped me. Like I told you about one recently, Number 1 is for you to believe in this truth that failure can never be who you are. It might be an experience, but it is not who you are. Mistakes or making wrong judgments, wrong assumptions, whatever it is, taking wrong decisions, all of these things are not who you are. And you should never accept that that is who you are. So don't be boxed within the frame of what you have never done right. Don't be boxed within the frame of negativity, because that can never be who you are. So that's the first thing you need to accept and resolve within yourself. And the more you give yourself to learning, the more you begin to expand your horizon in order for you not to accept what I'm saying. Then the second thing is now for you to constantly appraise yourself internally and externally. Appraise yourself by submitting yourself to people, just like what I did today when I asked, okay, please let me know how this has been impacting you. What can you say, blah, blah, blah. And don't be afraid to give your sincere feedback about others to them as well, because this is one of the benefits of human relationship in socialism. If you do not do this, then you are doing them a harm, and in return, you're also doing yourself disservice, except you're not going to be relating at the higher level. So this is very, very important. Okay, then the final one has to talk about the same skill which I mentioned to you and I'm emphasizing, and that has to do with agility. How you are adapting to continuous changes, and you, through the process of your adaptation or through your adaptive skills, how you are able to creatively innovate new ways of solving problems. It's very, very important. So you need to have this open heart. You must open the channels of your heart to learn new things, seek for new news, new information that widen your horizon. One of my friends, who happens to be a senior colleague, but recently now becomes a client and now a very good, a close friend. we're sharing today is in the full space of technology. He works as one of the country directors for Oracle in Nigeria. And we're just talking today, and I was telling him, I said, oh, see, this is what is happening in US just 2 days or a day after Trump was inaugurated, sworn in as a president. He set up a committee, and they are going to embark on Stargate project. Immediately I mentioned, it was like, what's Stargate project? Like, I had to now educate him to tell him what Stargate project is all about and how Trump brought in 3 companies: OpenAI, his company Oracle, and the other, I've forgotten the third company, and this US is going to invest so amount of. I remember I told him all this. I was like, where did I get all this? I said, I'm learning every day. And why I'm learning that is because of my interest in technology. I'm already looking for opportunity where I can also make investment or reposition my organization, reposition myself, and see new opportunities. This is what adaptability skill is all about. You need to seek for new opportunities and then define new ways by which you need to solve problems and align. And then you'll see how the turnaround of your life will be. And this is not limited to just only one scope, all aspects of your life. And that is exactly what growth will define for you. I'm going to round up now. I see that I've short few minutes. So how then can you consciously, because it has to be a level of decisiveness, how then can you consciously seize opportunity as you are positioning, reframing your mind, as you are seeking for opportunities? One is for you to always take initiative. You need to always be the one to step forward. I told you, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, that in my year 1, while I was in school, how I broke from my comfort zone and launched myself from timidity into being an extrovert. It was just a call. Who's going to do this? I don't know where that confidence came from. I just stepped forward, boom, and I became a pioneer. And that is on the history of the university, that this guy pioneered this movement till date. In fact, there are some of my colleagues back in school till now, almost about 20 years after now, that anytime they hear me or they see me, they still call me by that name as a pioneer. So you need to be willing at all times for you to be able to step out and take that initiative. Even when I want to stray away and I see those people within my circuit and my community, I will remember, oh, these people know me as a pioneer. I cannot believe less. So it enables me to now grow leadership skills towards that I must always lead anywhere I find myself. So it helps. Having that kind of orientation helps you. So you must always be willing to take the first step. You don't need anybody to energize you towards that. It must be part and parcel of your mindset, part and parcel of you, that anywhere you are, you must always take the first step in moving forward. Then the second one is for you to have that confidence, the boldness for you to step out of a comfort zone. Because if you don't, you won't see beyond your limitation. You are always limited within your comfort zone, within your boundary. And like we say in our local parlance, if you have not moved from your own house into someone else's palace, you won't know how beautiful and how well decorated their own palaces are. If what all your experiences are based on are just within your living room, trust me, you cannot grow beyond your living room. So you need to have the confidence. If you want to grow above the people that you are looking at, if you want to grow above me, trust me, you have to see beyond me. If you don't see beyond me, you can't grow beyond me. That's just the way it is. And then you look at also the way you commit yourself to continuous learning. Like I was saying, you don't retire on purpose. You keep doing purpose until you die. And the fact that you are pursuing purpose, you keep learning every step of the way. You don't give up on learning. And you keep looking for ways by which you want to learn and learn and learn and learn. I will jump this and then end with this practical life examples. I've given you several ones, but Thomas Edison always resonates with me, just as we also have Michael Faraday and so many other innovators, inventors in history. Some of them are even contemporary, they are still living. They are evidences of all these principles that I've shared with you, right? So when you look at the way they went about their inventions, they went about their products, well documented, they failed several times, and against all odds, they kept rising up. And imagine, for some of us that have been on research work before, it cost a lot to embark on research. So they wasted resources, as many people will see it as a waste, but the result end off proves the means justify the means. So their means is true failure. Okay, like someone will go through fire for him to be able to get to the end of the tunnel. So that's exactly what sometimes challenges my post or setbacks, but see them as springboards, see them as stepping stones for you to move forward and let the product, the innovation that you want to bring about, let it be before you and be what is going to drive you to success. So I'm going to stop here and then ask you to share one or two things that resonate with you about some of these things I've mentioned, in the area of technology, how you can leverage on technology to facilitate the process of your growth and reorientation through learning. You don't need to wait until when you have opportunities to travel out. Like some of us might be planning, oh, I want to travel out for me to be able to go and study in Ivy League University. Now you have a tech. You can sit right in the square of your room and connect to those universities. I've done several, courses with Harvard University. I'm done with Oxford. This year, I'm still looking for more Ivy League University to do things with and all of that. And in future, when I have the real opportunity to go and sit down in classroom there, I will surely do. But I won't wait until that. So that's what progressive elaboration of the scope of your pursuit means. You don't need to wait. The small fruit in your hand, just plant it and let it keep growing. Sometimes it might be a perennial seed. It might be a perennial product that is going to come out of it. If you don't plant it now, imagine how long. Like I used to tell people, if I knew the time I started my first company, I would have started it while I was in school, and I've allowed it to grow almost about 4 or 5 years before I now began to launch fully deep house. So that's exactly what it means when you're talking about growth mindset. You need to just take that first step and then the next step and keep taking it. And then you see that the sky is the beginning of your limit because you are limitless. Thank you. I can see Utsman hand up. Please, you can unmute and talk. 40 minutes past. We're going to round up quickly.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the
Welcome.
session, sir. Thank you, sir. So, I have a question based on the 5 dimension of growth mindset you mentioned. And my question is about learning. How do one navigate about it when someone has new curiosity or new interest after someone might have set down lists of goals want to achieve? So I don't know if you get my question very well, sir. So my point
Yeah.
that I mean, okay, so that's because I'm somebody who, the way you mentioned, sir, I'm somebody who also who is always trying to learn new things every day in, day out. But it's always try to, so most of the times try to be against some of the goals I have already. And even sometimes when I try to do something, try to learn anything, it make me try to backbench the goals or the learning I was going on before. So sometimes we ask now, how can someone navigate a new curiosity, a new interest, and against a goal, a set goals?
Okay, very simple. And I'll use my example to drive home my point. If you have a key subject area that you are interested in, because by the time we have not gotten to goals talking about goal setting, because we need to deal with all this. Because if you don't have the right mindset, you don't know your purpose, you don't have values, all of these things, and you just jump into setting goals, you don't have any frame, you don't have any standard, you don't have any base upon which your goals are going. So you just be like someone that's chasing after the winds. And I don't want you to do that 2025. You might have been doing that all your life, but 2025 has to be with a difference, right? So that's why we are laying all this foundation. Then we move into goals, then we now build other things that your goals can be focused on, albeit relationship, your social life, your spiritual life, all other things. We'll still talk about them after we've spoken about how to set goals, how to create your goal plan and all of that. So for learning, this is how I usually go about mine. For instance, I just talked to you about my interest in artificial intelligence. I started the journey last year when I was doing my 4th master program in Rome Business School and Valencia International University. When I was doing masters in project management, I just wanted something different because I've done a lot of certification in project management. I've had almost about 15 years of experience, operating projects, even up to now portfolio level. So I just wanted something new. And I realized that PMI, where
I belong to as a community of international project managers, just started talking and driving towards inclusion of AI technologies in governing and managing projects. They just bought over an AI tech company, Cognilytica. So, I mean, that thing just brought serious curiosity in me that, okay, so this is the future in this profession. So let me see how to key into it. So I just I just went into that my final thesis. I just like, okay, I'm going to see how I'm going to do things around blockchain technology, something around artificial intelligence and deep learning, and then narrow it down to how to solve some climate change. Trust me, I don't have a clue. I never had a clue about some of these things, but I was just curious. I don't want to do the normal way people doing, just write this thesis, write that. And guess what? Because I needed to know what I was going to do, I started making research, looking for universities. I went, first of all, into the project manager and management.com communities and started asking questions from people who are internationally, who are functioning in those spaces. And that's what is also very important. The community you belong to, we spoke about community yesterday, and I mentioned it again today in passing. The community you belong to will determine the rate at which you are going to be learning. The community you belong to is going to determine the rate at which you're going to be learning. There are several things that you'll be seeking for all around in the world that they are just right there within your community if you belong to the right community. So I quickly went there. This is a community of over 700,000 people globally in over 200 countries and territories. So immediately I dropped that question, created the question pool. Come and see the way I just picked the 4 best one by intuition. I just engaged them and they gave me some perspective, materials, website, things. By the time I exhausted the reading, downloaded some books, and I was really filled, and I had the confidence that I can attempt this. And guess what? My project, my final thesis was also
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Yes,
hear you
sir.
now, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, at what point did I stop? Because I didn't know I mistakenly pressed mute.
You mentioned your final thesis.
Okay, so when I was in my final thesis, because I did so much research and so much developed a lot of new, don't forget AI is still developing. So many people are confused about what to know about it. So my findings and a lot of things and how this can be integrated into what we're doing as project managers and all of that brought new areas of learning. And it was fed in as one of the best projects that was fed in for a competition and all of that. In fact, some of my colleagues were even asking me if possible, we can form some kind of collaboration and materialize the project, set up a company, blah, blah, blah. I was just laughing to myself that it was just mere curiosity that was pushing me doing all these things. So that is how to begin. You don't have a clue, you don't know anything. Technology can help you to learn. You can even start from using ChatGPT. Go and do research, ask questions. You are interacting with a chat bot. Ask questions. It will give you clues, give you access to some findings online, and then you can now begin to narrow it down to, okay, which university can I get this from? Blah blah blah. The ones that are free, the ones that are not free. Are there free courses I can take? That is how to start, and we'll let the bigger ones come afterwards, so that you continue to build on that encouragement. So that's what I'm going to tell, because that's what works for me. And guess what? By the time you start moving in the direction of an opportunity, the real opportunity will then knock on your door. And this is one thing that have happened to me several times. Most of the degrees I've done came on the platter of either I have full scholarship or partial scholarship, or something just worked out that I don't have problem in paying for the school fees, because they were just opportunity and I keyed into it. I necessarily don't have to waste time. Took opportunity and I keyed into it because I've been waiting for it. It showed up, I prepared. And when preparation meets with opportunity, it leads to fulfillment. So that's what I'm going to advise you. And you can also keep tabs with me. If I know what you're doing, if there are areas where I can also, help encourage you more or show you directions of specific opportunities, I'll be glad to do that. I don't know if that helps.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Any other thing? I think we should stop here. If you have any other stuff you want to share, please feel free. You can use the WhatsApp I know 1 hour is not usually, when it comes to things like this, 1 hour is not usually easy to really digest all. Please, you have opportunity to go over it, listen to it. I have so much I could have shared about my life, but time will not permit. But as much as you ask questions, that's why I want it to be engaging. I'm using these classes, these sessions to share all the principles, but let's engage, ask questions, your pain points, push it forward so that I'll be able to now use my personal scenarios and experiences to help you out on how to navigate through any situation that you may find yourself in. Thank you. So we're going to stop here. We'll catch again tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and good night. Thank you.
Thank you very
Me
much.
too.
Thanks. Good night, everyone.
Thank
Night.
you. Thank you. Night.